Hi, everyone. Welcome to our GA4, that is Google Analytics 4 Accelerator program. And this is the first webinar. My name, for those of you who don't know me and who can't read on the screen, is Chris Burgess. I'm a news partner manager for Google. And I would like to start by acknowledging the traditional owners of the lands on which each of us meet and pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. So, as many of you know, Google's mission is to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. And the Google News Initiative supports news organizations around the world in their path towards digital transformation in areas such as audience development, data, advertising revenue, and by providing in-person and these kinds of online trainings. We also contribute to industry research and various efforts to combat misinformation. We're very excited to partner in this program with data strategy experts from Monks. For those of you who don't realize, Monks used to be Media Monks, but is now just Monks for some reason. They must have taken a vow of celibacy, I think. So they're going to provide a series of webinars that will enable you to leverage this really powerful analytics program to better understand your audience and use those insights to drive your business growth. So our 5 webinars will run on a bi-monthly basis. In the past, we had feedback that they were too like back to back, and it was a bit challenging for news organizations to find the time to participate. So we're spacing them out a lot more. If you're based in Australia, New Zealand, or Southeast Asia, you are also, if you're a general news organization, eligible to apply for our one-to-one office hours under this program. And if you haven't already and you would like to, you can apply to register for that at the link that I've just posted in the chat. So that's actual one-to-one implementation support from our GA4 experts at Monks. If you didn't previously indicate interest, but you'd like to, please reach out to us at the email address I am about to post in the chat. And you can go into the pool for the one-to-one consultation, which we've had feedback in the past has been particularly effective for news organizations, all of whom seem to have their own individual requirements. What a surprise. So I really hope, oh, my earphone fell out. I hope you find today's session insightful. And with that, I'd really like to introduce you to today's main speakers, who are Charmin and Kogel. Thanks, folks.
All right, thank you, Chris, for the introduction. Yeah, so like what Chris mentioned, today we have 2 people from the Monks team presenting and sharing the webinar with you guys. So my name is Charmin. With me, I have my partner, Kogel, that we will split this webinar into 2, where I will first go through the first half of the webinar, followed by him in the later part. So like what Chris mentioned, previously Google have many webinars sharing with you guys on the capabilities of GA4, right? And now with this webinar, this is specifically catered and tailored to publishers to help the team understand what GA4 is, what the capability is, and how the publishers, you guys, can enhance your content performance, boost subscriptions, and in turn improve your ad performance and ultimately driving your business goals. So like what Chris mentioned earlier, the webinars will be bi-monthly. We'll be spending from September all the way to October. And he also mentioned about the one-on-one consultations. Like we mentioned, every publisher has different and unique goals. So do sign up for the consultation. It will span from September all the way to December. I believe the sign up cutoff date will be 7 September. So yeah, do sign up for it. And yeah, during the Q&A session, feel free to ask your questions in the chat. So in this 5-part webinar, what we'll be going through will be, for today especially, will be the basics of GA4, where we will introduce and walk you through the user interface of GA4. And then we have also specifically handpicked key features that are more applicable to publishers. Next, in the next webinar, we'll be talking about the like how the publishers can have a step-by-step. We'll go through the step-by-step guide on how you can build your custom report. So we'll go through that with the team, and it's tailored to publishers as well. And then in the next webinar, in the third webinar, we'll be going through how you guys can get more insights on your content and author performance. And then the fourth webinar will be analyzing like the content performance and understanding your reader journeys and leveraging on those insights to boost your reader retention and your ad revenue. Finally, in the last webinar, we'll be going through how you can go about setting up your text using GTM. We'll walk you through, walk with you how you can go about creating the text, and then how you can go about troubleshooting as well. So just a little bit of housekeeping before we start the whole webinar is that first, how we will go through is that the first 45 minutes we'll be walking through with you guys on the platform and the user interface. And then in the last 15 minutes, we'll be addressing all the questions that you have asked on the chat. So we'll address everything, every single question, so that maybe some questions that weren't raised by certain teams, it could be more could be applicable to you guys, but you have yet to think about those questions as well. So yeah, we will address everything. So do have your GA4 accounts open so that you'll be able to follow through the webinar and understand the user interface by also interacting with the interface yourself. All right, so this is the code of the webinar. So with data collection, the sooner the better is always the best answer. So collecting data early is essential for gaining insights into audience behavior, content preference, and engagement patterns. So it helps you guys track how your readers interacts with your readers' interest over time, and then it helps you pinpoint which content is actually driving the most traffic to your site, and as well as you can adjust your content strategies accordingly and to stay ahead with all those trends and maximize your engagement. So like what I mentioned earlier, we recognize that each publisher have different goals and different needs. So you might require more personalized guidance in terms of how you want to track certain actions and events on your site. So do sign up for the consultation, and so that our team, the Monks team, can help tailor our advice accordingly during those consultations. All right, so without further ado, we will kickstart this webinar officially. So in this part of the webinar, what I'll be going through will be the basics of the GA4. So first, before I go through, I will be sharing with you the common challenges that publishers face and how GA4 can help address these issues. So previously, Universal Analytics, you'll have to track your web in one property and your app in another property. So now with the moving digital trends, right, you can see that your users are using their mobile devices to look into to the content, and then they can be on desktops as well, and even on your apps as well. So First, because GA4, you'll be able to track both app and web in a single property. So that's how GA4 addresses this issue by offering cross-platform tracking. So this helps consolidate data from both app and web in a single property, and it allows you to see a full picture of your audience interaction with your content, regardless where they occur. So secondly, GA4 is fully event driven, is a full event driven model. So it helps you track interactions across all different touch points. So you'll be able to analyze the full user journey from the first interaction all the way to their conversion across all devices and platforms. Lastly, GA4 helps resolve this issue, your monetization potential through advanced analytics and ad manager integration. So how GA4 can help is that once you link your Google Ads, you'll be able to import those audiences and those interactions into your Google Ads and then activate the data that you have collected in your GA4. So now I'll be sharing with you the team about the Google product integration and how each product work along the way and how it come together. So first you have your GTM, right, which is your Google Tag Manager. So this is a very powerful tool that helps you manage and deploy your tags and without the team actually needing to modify your code directly. So what it does is that you have to create a tag that helps you track, for example, your page view, your button clicks, your form submission, and many more. And then once these tags are being created, it will be triggered upon an action that your user has taken on your site. And once it was being triggered, the event will then flow into your GA4 platform. So now I'm moving on to the transform side of things, right? So GA4, what you can do is the platform provides you with a holistic view of how your user interacts across both web and app, like what I mentioned earlier, right? Because you can see your app and web data collected in one single property. So it helps aggregate the data that is being collected in using your GTM, and then it gives you a visualization, and it's a analysis tool to help you understand your user behavior and your content performance. And next, in terms of visualization, so you may ask, what's the difference between like using the reports in GA4 and Looker Studio, right? So in GA4, you do have built-in reports. You have the exploration reports where you can create reports based on the data that you've collected. But where Looker Studio stands out is that you can collect you can connect more than one platform into this visualization tool. So not only can you have your GA4 data visualized in the Looker Studio, you can also connect your other tools such as your Salesforce data, your Google BigQuery data, your Facebook data, and so on and so forth. So there is much flexible, and you can, with different sources, you'll be able to paint a better picture using Looker Studio. Last but not least, how you activate your data that you collect using the Ad Manager. So like I mentioned earlier as well, once you connect your Google Ads account or Google Ad Manager account to your GA4 platform, and you can be able to see, like, is your ad revenue or your ad spend bringing in or driving in the traffic that you want, the quality of traffic that you want? Is your strategy efficient in bringing in your objective and meeting the objective of your campaigns? So what is GA4? So I've been re-emphasizing it again and again, that GA4 is where you can unify both your app and your web journey together, so you'll be able to see a full user journey in your GA4. So it helps you make better business strategy using data-driven decisions. So GA4 was introduced to address the changes, like I mentioned, like the digital landscape of like user behaviors has been changing, right? Because of the introduction of like technology. So the way that people have are interacting with the digital content has changed dramatically, especially with the increasing use of mobile devices and the demand for like a seamless experience across the different platforms. So that's where GA4 comes in, and it's introduced and will address these kind of changes and will provide a more comprehensive and accurate way of measuring your user behavior across web and app. Okay, so we'll be going through the features of GA4. So firstly, it's all event-based. It's a event-based data model. So what this means is that every single interaction on your site or your app, it's all considered as an event. So for example, when a user lands on your site, a page will fire. So this is considered as an event. And then if they navigate from another page by clicking a button, this will trigger a button click event. So this is also an event. And then if let's say they were to scroll down to your to view more of your content, this is also considered as an event as well. So every single interaction on your site is considered as an event. Next, with the cross-platform insight. So if let's say your site were to have like a login feature, right? So you'll be pushing this dimension called the user ID. So that's where you'll be able to understand whether or not your users are coming or logging in or viewing your content from your app or your web. Or even if you don't have an app, if let's say they are logging in through your desktop and then they log in through their mobile device, you still, with the help of user ID, you'll be able to see like a full user journey, because with the help of user ID, you'll be able to tie that this is the same user. So for example, if you can imagine a reader, they start their journey by discovering one of your articles through Google search on their desktop computer. And then they proceed to create an account during this session. Later, they log into their account on their mobile phones and continue reading the article while commuting. So finally, then after they decided, okay, I'm gonna download the mobile app and log in again. So and then end up they subscribe to your newsletter or paid service through the app. So with the help of user ID, you'll be able to link all these interactions and then understand the content and the actions that led to the final conversion and for them to actually become a subscriber in the end. So you'll be able to see the full journey with the help of user ID. So next will be the user identification. So with the help of user ID and Google signals, you'll be more your data will be more holistic. So you'll be able to also map user interactions across both devices and platforms. So in the case the publisher doesn't have an account or login feature on the site, you will still be able to tie this user together with the help of Google signals. So what this means is if let's say the user were to log in onto their Chrome, and then they have a Google account, right? Because they logged in previously. So with that and consenting to allowing tracking, Google will be able to link, this is a user ID and the user that is looking at this content, and then finally tying it back to the final conversion. So you'll still be able to have a unified view of how the readers interact, and then ultimately be able to tie the user together. So in the case where users, like I mentioned earlier, the publishers you don't have a sign-in feature or yet, there's still a way to tie back the user through the cross-device reporting. Next, so there is a cool feature. It's like the predictive audience feature in GA4. So there are examples that you can use under the predictive audience could be the 7-day likely purchases and likely first time 7-day purchases. So to enable this predictive feature, there are some prerequisites that have to be met for you to enable this feature. So this includes having at least 1,000 returning users who have purchased previously and 1,000 returning users who have not purchased in the past 28 days. So this criteria has to be sustained over a period of time for GA4 to recognize, oh yes, this predictive audience, the data collected, you are eligible to enable this predictive audience. However, we understand that it might be tough for publishers to fit this criteria, especially because purchase events only happens once when the user actually subscribes, right? So it might not generate enough or a high volume to meet the purchase events required to activate these predictive features. However, it is still a useful feature to use should you be able to meet this prerequisite. But with that said, you don't have to worry. Even if you are not able to use this predictive audience feature, you'll still be able to create custom audiences, which you then can also import and use in your Google Ads for retargeting purposes. Lastly, we have the exploration reports. So exploration reports are one of the most powerful features in GA4. This allows you to tailor your analysis to your specific business needs. So this goes beyond the built-in reports that is already provided in GA4 because it provides you with the flexibility to combine all the different dimensions and metrics that is more relevant to the business goals. So there are different ways and different techniques that you can use that is available in the exploration tab, which include building funnels, the path analysis, and an example that you can go about using it. It could be you creating a custom report to see the more common path or the most common path that your users are taking before they turn into a subscriber. But we'll go through more in greater details in the next few webinars where we go through the custom report building. All right, so next we'll move on to the user interface familiarization section, where I will go through the account architecture in GA4. So we have the data stream we can start from the account level where it is governed by a region-specific terms and services. So for example, if let's say you have a business, right? So you will create an account and then you'll create a property under this account, which will collect all your data, right? And then under the property, you'll have the data streams. So under the property, you can create 3 different data streams, namely the web data stream, the app data stream, which includes one for Android and one for iOS. So in the next slide, we'll be going through what the best practices are. So typically, what we will recommend is to have 3 data streams, like I mentioned, one for a single web data stream, one for the Android, and one for the iOS. So it is crucial for you to consolidate your data from various sections, editions, or platforms such as your website, your app, and in a single GA4 property. So for example, right, if let's say you have a news website that has different sections. So for example, you have like the politics section, you have the sports section, and you have the entertainment, all under your same website. All of this will fall under one web data stream. So in the case, if you have if you guys are managing 2 different outlets, for example, you have one domain called localnews.com, and then you have another domain called globalnews.com. These 2 different domains should be tracked under 2 different properties. So you'll create one property that tracks the local news and another property that tracks the global news engagement. And then the next one will be the features and that are available for 360 clients. So the rollout property. So what are rollout property? So rollout property, it's where you can have where you can add up all your different property data into one single property. So an example when you will use roll-up properties when, for example, if a publisher that owns multiple news websites or magazines, for example, what you can do is that you can create a roll-up property that will help aggregate the data from all the different sites into one view. So how is this useful, right? I have many clients that have used this roll-up property. Mostly it's because they will want to monitor performance of different news websites as a region. So for example, if I have localnews.com.au and then I have localnews.com.nz, and I want to see how an overview of how the engagement for across both AU and NZ. So I will have this roll-up property so that I can have a good overview of these two countries. So for sub-properties, so earlier I mentioned that you have different sections, right? You could have politics, you have sports, and you have entertainment. So it's commonly used if you have like subdomains for that. So for example, you have politics.localnews.com and you have sports.localnews.com. So this is where you introduce the sub-property feature where you can take a subset of your main domain, the engagement for those that is under the property. So for example, if you can imagine, the main property would be localnews.com, and then your subdomains, you will have the politics.subdomain.com and the sports localnews.com. So this will be under the subproperty of the main property, where you can see the interaction for specific sections. So this is important if, let's say, you want to see the performance for a specific section of your website. All right, then we'll move on to the GA4 basic terminology. So we have firstly the custom definition. So the custom definition includes two parts. One is the custom dimensions, which is more qualitative. And then you have the custom metrics, which is more quantitative. So what this custom dimension does, it provides additional contextual data that is not available by default. So this is crucial if you want to track a specific interaction or content performance, or if you want to create an audience with specific features. So for example, you can create, in the next slide, I will share with you the custom dimension example. So for example, you can create author as a custom dimension. So this will provide you with more details. For example, if a specific author is bringing high volume of traffic because of the content and article that is written by them. Or you can create another custom dimension, for example, content grouping. So is it because of a specific content group that is driving your users to your site, or is it because it's written by a specific author that is driving users to your site? Next, we have the custom metrics. So like I mentioned, it's more qualitative. So you might want to track the number of times your user is interacting with your elements. For example, if you have polls, you have quizzes embedded in your articles. So this metric is tailored to your needs and provides valuable insights into your user engagement and interactive content. So an example of custom metrics that you can create, it could be how many articles has this user saved, or how many comments have this user left on a specific article. So this really gives you a more insightful or more holistic data onto your user to help you identify whether or not your users are high quality users. Next, we have the calculated metrics. So the calculated metrics could be an example that you could create is like conversion rate paywall view to subscription. For example, if you were to take the total number of paywall views divided by the number of subscriptions, so it kind of help you understand whether or not your paywall is driving in the your high number of subscriptions. And next, it could also be your content engagement rate, where you take the total number of engagement divided by the page view, so you can see whether or not your users are actually engaged with your content on your site. So this calculator metrics feature, it's where you use existing metrics or custom metrics within and use a mathematical formula to create valuable metrics so that it will provide more insights to your user engagement or your ad revenue, your KPIs for your campaign. So I have many clients that have used these metrics before because they want to define or they want to use these metrics into their report so that they'll be able to see whether or not the campaign is efficient in driving in the result that they want. All right, so I'm done with the first part of the webinar. Now I'll hand over the time to Kugo, who will be going through with you the second part of the GA4 features. So I'll hand this time over to Kugo.
All right, thank you so much, Sharmin. It was really insightful. I hope you guys find it insightful as well. And if all's good in your end, it'll be great if you guys could probably give a thumbs up reaction on your end. And if you guys do have any questions, feel free to key it in the chat, and then we'll get back to it at the end of the webinar. All right, that's a couple thumbs up. That's great. Okay, so moving on. Let's talk about events. What is an event? In GA4, every interaction a user has with your content is considered an event. This includes actions like page views, button clicks, or even video plays. Now, here's where it gets exciting for you as publishers. With GA4, you are not just limited to knowing that a reader visited a page, but you can dig how much deeper in it. Imagine being able to see exactly how far they scrolled down an article, pinpoint the buttons they click, measure how long they stayed on a page, and track whether they took those key actions like subscribing to your newsletter. In GA4, there are several different types of events that serve specific purposes. Let's break them down. First up, we have automatically collected events. These are the bread and butter of GA4, capturing essential interactions like a user's first visit, session starts, and page views without any additional setup on your part. It's like having analytics safety net right from the moment you implement GA4. Like you are already gathering valuable insights into user behaviors. Then we move on to enhanced measurement events. These events offer a bit more depth, tracking interactions like scrolling, file downloads, and outbound clicks. The best part, you can enable these directly through the GA4 interface without any extra coding. The key difference between enhanced measurement events and automatically collected events is the level of control that you have. While automatically collected events are always on, you can choose to enable or disable enhanced measurement events based on your needs. Next would be recommended events, which are Google's way of guiding you towards more specialized tracking. These events require some additional setup, such as adding specific code to your site. And for publishers, recommended events are fantastic for tracking detailed interactions relevant to your content, like article views or video plays. We'll explore this in detail in the upcoming slide. So moving on to custom events. Custom events are those that you define yourself, allowing you to track interactions that are unique to your business or website. These events are highly flexible and can be tailored to collect specific information you need for your business goals. Custom events provide a more granular and customized view of user behavior, and we'll dive into them in more detail later on as well. So coming back to recommended events, in GA4, Google provides a list of recommended events that are highly relevant to many industries, but today we are just going to be focusing on those that are particularly important for publishers. These events can help you understand your audience better and refine your strategies for growth and retention. So first up, we have sign up. This event tracks when a user registers for an account. For publishers like you, monitoring signups can reveal which content or pages drives the most registration. This insight is crucial for refining your strategies to increase subscriber growth and retention. Next up is login. By tracking login events, publishers can gauge user engagement levels among registered readers. It is also a great way to compare the interests of registered and non-registered users, like helping you tailor content that resonates with each group. Now, let's talk about search. This event tracks the queries users enter in your site search bar, giving you a direct line to what your readers are actively seeking. It's a treasure trove of information that can reveal content gaps or spark ideas for new articles. Plus, by optimizing your internal search functionality based on these insights, you can enhance content discoverability and keep readers coming back for more. Then we have select content. This event allows you to see which content your readers are most interested in. By knowing exactly what piques their interest, you can sharpen the content strategies and also boost engagement across the board. Finally, the share. This event tracks when a user shares content from your site, whether via social media, email, or other platforms. It indicates which content resonates deeply with readers, highlighting high engagement and the potential for increased reach. So each of these events are designed to give you deeper insight into how your audience interact with your content, enabling you to make data-driven decisions that boost engagement and drive success. Now, let's dive deeper into custom events. Custom events in GA4 are a powerful tool that allows you to track specific user interaction on your site that are important to your business but aren't tracked by default. These are tailored to capture data that is unique to your content and audience. Imagine you are a publisher eager to know how many readers are fully engaging with your article. You could set up a custom event called Article Complete that triggers when someone reads to the very end. And this isn't just useful, but it's essential for tracking deep content engagement and understanding which of your articles keep readers hooked all the way through. So we understand every publisher has unique goals, and that means custom events should be tailored to fit your specific needs. So that's why we are excited to explore how you can craft this in events in our one-on-one consultation sessions. So yeah, do remember to sign up for it, and yeah, let's work together to unlock full potential. Also, do remember the closing date for this is on the 7th. So yeah, just ensure to sign up as soon as possible. In GA4, a key event is any user action that is particularly valuable to your business. Think of it as your key performance indicator, like KPIs, because they represent interaction that drive revenue or signify a high quality user. For you, identifying and tracking key events is crucial because it helps you to measure the effectiveness of your content and engagement strategies. So let's go through some examples of key events that are particularly relevant for publishers. First step will be sign up for account registration. Then we have sign up for newsletter, subscribe for a plan, share, soft paywall interactions, like as in users create an account to access content behind a soft paywall. Hard paywall interaction, as in user has a paid subscription to access premium content. So by focusing on these key events, you can better measure and refine your strategies to ensure that your content is not just being seen, but also valued and acted upon your audience. Now, let's take a moment to review this high-level checklist. Based on everything we have discussed so far, it's crucial to ensure that your platform is equipped with these custom dimensions and events. This checklist is divided into three categories: content custom dimensions, reader custom dimension, and events. So by implementing and monitoring these dimensions and events, you'll be in a strong position to leverage your data for better insights and more informed decisions making. So I'll pause for a moment right now so you can probably take a screenshot on your end. But don't worry, you'll still have access to this checklist after the webinar. Right, so moving on. Let's talk about custom audience. So GA4's custom audience offer publishers a robust way to categorize reader according to their unique interactions, behavior, and demographic profile. Example of custom audience includes casual readers, loyal readers, subscribers, and content-specific engagers. Casual readers are those who visit site infrequently, providing an opportunity to engage them further with targeted content. Loyal readers would be frequent visitors who regularly consume content, making them like prime candidate for subscription offers and premium content. Subscribers are users who have already signed up, allowing you to tailor content or ads to retain and engage these valuable audience. And content-specific engagers are readers who consistently interact with particular types of content, such as like political news or like even entertainment articles. So by leveraging this audience segment, you can optimize both your content strategy and ad targeting, particularly through the integration of Google Ads Manager. This ensures that your ads are reaching the most relevant audience and enhancing user experience while maximizing revenue potential. Right. So when it comes to creating custom audience in GA4, there are few key elements to consider. These elements allow you to define exactly who you want to include in your audience based on specific behavior, conditions, and trigger. So let's walk through the key elements displayed here. First, we have audience condition. These are specific criteria that users must meet to include in your audience. Think of conditions like page views, page visited, triggered events, or user attributes such as demographics. You can use this to narrow down who exactly should be a part of this audience. Next is condition scoping. This allows you to determine the time frame and scope of the conditions that you have set. For instance, you might want to include users who have visited the site on multiple occasions or those who performed a specific action during a single session. So scoping helps you to control the relevance and timeliness of your audience. Now, onto membership duration. This defines how long a user remains a part of your audience after meeting these conditions. In GA4, you can set this duration to be anywhere from 1 to 540 days. And as a publisher, you might want to keep users in your audience for a shorter duration if you're focusing on timely campaigns, such as promoting a new editorial series or special coverage of an event, maybe. On the other hand, for evergreen content or long-term subscription drives, you could extend the membership duration to keep users engaged over a longer period. Audience trigger allows you to automatically add users to audience based on specific actions. For example, you might set a trigger for users who subscribe to your newsletter, ensuring that they are included in the audience for promotional offers or even exclusive content. This feature is particularly useful for real-time engagement, allowing you to quickly act on user behavior, such as offering subscription discounts to readers who frequently engage with premium content. So these 4 steps work together to help you create highly targeted and effective custom audience in GA4. Now, let's explore an example on how GA4 can help us create a custom audience for contributors, which is highly valuable for any news publishers. In this scenario, we are focusing on users who actively contribute to communities, such as those who leave a comment on articles. So for condition scoping, we set these conditions to track user contribution across all sessions, ensuring that we are identifying regular contributors rather than one-time participants. This is particularly important for publishers who want to build and maintain an engaged readership community. The key event we are using over here is new contributions, which could be triggered by actions such as leaving comments on articles, making it easy to pinpoint who's really involved in the conversation. We have set membership duration to 30 days. This means that users will remain in this audience for a month after their last contribution. During this time, you can target them with follow-up contents, notifications, or special features that keep them coming back. For instance, you might promote a series of articles related to topic they've shown interest in. This approach not only helps you to build a more engaged community around your content, but also plays a critical role in sustaining readership and increasing loyalty among your audience. Now, let's talk about segments. Segments helps to break users into categories or dimensions. There are some different segments that you can create to get more insights on your users. And we can segment them by geographic location, identifying where your readers are coming from, device category, understanding user behavior on different devices like mobile, desktop, or tablet. Traffic source, segmenting by how user arrives on your site, maybe via organic search or social media or maybe newsletter. Content consumption, on the other hand, is segment user based on type of content they engage with, like maybe political articles, entertainments, or sports. Subscriber engagement is just to differentiate between registered users, subscriber, and casual readers. Right, so let's now take a closer look at the different type of segments we can create in GA4, which are essential for analyzing and optimizing user behavior on your site. So first will be user segment, allows us to group users based on specific attributes or behavior. For example, we can create a segment of returning visitors for those users who have visited our site more than 3 times in the past 30 days. This helps us to understand loyalty and retention trend, which are crucial for keeping our audience engaged. Session segment focus on grouping sessions based on actions or conditions within a session. For instance, we might want to analyze high engagement sessions, defined as session with more than 3 minutes of duration and at least 5 page views. By doing so, we can identify the content or site structure elements that keep users engaged and refine our strategies according to it. And finally, we have event segment. Event segment allows us to categorize event based on specific user actions. So an example here could be users who have played a video for more than 30 seconds, maybe. This type of segment helps us to understand which content types are resonating most with our content audience, enabling us to fine-tune more on our content strategy. So by utilizing this segment effectively, we can gain deeper insight into our audience and tailor our content and strategies to better meet their needs. So now let's take a closer look at this example where we are creating a segment called Engaged Readers, which is incredibly valuable as well, who wants to focus on users who deeply engage with the content. So here's how we set up the conditions, right? So first will be for page view. We are targeting users who are viewing more than 5 pages in single session. So this tells us the readers are diving deep into your content and exploring multiple articles or pages, which is a strong indicator of genuine interest. Next will be geographic location. We have narrowed down the segment who are located in New Zealand. This can help us tailor content strategies to a specific geographic audience, making our approach more precise and effective. So by applying these two conditions, as I mentioned, right, we can create a focus segment of engaged reader who are most likely to be valuable to advisors and more receptive to subscription offers and ultimately critical to the success of your content strategy. So once this segment is set up in GA4, you can use it within explorations to dig deeper into like specific behaviors, track engagement trends over time, and optimize your content to better serve this highly engaged audience. So by focusing on these readers, you can ensure that your content truly resonates with who matters the most. Right, so we'll be looking into some part of interpretation of data now, and we'll be diving deep into the reports, explorations in our next webinar. So under this section, we have picked up 2 engagement metrics that publishers usually focus on to decide whether or not your users are of interested in your content. So first, let's talk about engagement rate. This metric measures the percentage of sessions that are considered engaged. An engaged session is typically defined as one where the users have stayed on page for at least 10 seconds, viewed more than one page, or completed a conversion event. Essentially, it's clear signal of how well your content is holding the attention of your audience. A high engagement rate indicates that your users are finding value in your content, and that's definitely that's what we want, right? And on the flip side, a lower engagement rate might suggest that your content isn't quite hitting the mark or meeting user expectations. So now you might recall in Universal Analytics, or UA, that we use to look at bounce rate, which is the percentage of sessions where users left without interacting. So in GA4, Google has shifted the focus to engagement rate instead, offering a more positive and actionable measure of user interaction. This gives us a much clearer picture of how users are interacting with our content, which in turn helps us to understand their behavior better. So to interpret engagement rate, consider the context of your content and audience. For example, if your engagement rate is low, you might need to improve your content's relevance or quality. You could also compare engagement rate across different content types to see what resonates most with your audience. So tracking engagement rate over time will definitely help you to measure impact of changes that you have made to your content or site structure. Another critical engagement metric that we have selected for today is pages per session metric. This one is a fantastic indicator of how deeply users are exploring your content. The higher number of pages per session suggests that your readers find your content engaging and are eager to explore more. For publishers like you, especially those who are relying on ad revenue, this is a key metric because more page views can directly translate into increased ad impressions. But what if you notice a low number of pages per sessions, right? So that could be a signal that your users aren't finding what they're exactly looking for, or maybe your site's navigation isn't as user-friendly as it could be. So in these cases, consider strategies like improving internal linking, suggesting related content, or enhancing site navigation. This small adjustment could significantly encourage users to delve deeper into your content, boosting overall engagement. So as we wrap up this section of engagement metrics, it's important to remember that metrics aren't just numbers. So they're insights into how your audience is interacting with your content. So by paying attention to these details, you can make informed decisions that enhance not only user experience, but it will ultimately drive your business goals. So I hope these were informative and useful for all of you. And as we come to the end of the session today, I hope you have gained valuable insight on how GA4 can be a game changer for your publisher strategies. And remember, the key takeaways here is that data-driven decisions are at the heart of successful content strategies. By leveraging features we have discussed, you're not just capturing data, but you're also unlocking the potential to refine your approach, increase engagement, and ultimately drive growth. So the checklist we shared earlier will be a great starting point for all who is like looking to better understand how user engage with your content. And yeah, we'll be deep diving into more ways of gathering insight with the help of custom exploration reports in the next webinar. So now, before we wrap up completely, let's go into question and answer sessions. So let me see. Yes. Sherman, would you like to jump in here for any questions?
Yeah, so we received one question from Karen. So you asked, are sub-properties only available for GA4 360? So yes, this feature is only available for GA4 360 clients. Then you also have an additional question on how you can get to set up in the following format. So I was looking into your website that you have linked in your question as well. And I noticed that your content, that the sections are by, for example, you have your news, you have puzzles and other sections as well. So what I would recommend is you can use the content grouping custom dimension if you want to section out the different sections of your website to see the engagement for the different sections. So content grouping is a way you can go about doing it. In the case you need further support and further explanation on this, we can look into addressing that in the one-on-one consultations as well. I hope that answers your question. Karen, okay, great. Awesome. So that's nice to know that the answer helped you. So I believe there's only one question that we are looking into the chat group that we have received. So if I understand that it's quite a handful of information that you have just said through about a 45 minutes webinar full of content, and there might not be questions that pop into your head instantaneously. So in the case, especially if you have signed up with the one-on-one consultation and the question just hasn't gotten to you or has come across your mind, and it came across your mind after this session, you can always feel free to let us know during the one-on-one consultation and we can address it there and then too. All right, so thank you, Kugo, for sharing more insightful information on GA4. So like what he said, we have covered the GA4 walkthrough in terms of like the user interface familiarization and a bit of an introduction of the custom dimensions and the key features of what GA4 entails. So like what Kugo mentioned as well, we have briefly introduced to you two different matrices that is essential to publishers for you to interpret the data in your reports. And in the next webinar, we'll deep dive into the different custom reports that we can go ahead to build for the publishers that is more relevant and resonates to what you want to see in a report in the next few webinars. So the next webinar will be on the 25th of September. Similarly to what Chris shared, with that we will have two different time zones. Please feel free to join whichever time zone that is more suited to your schedule. All right, so that is it for the first webinar. Thank you so much for taking the time off to attend our webinar. So feel free to let us know if you have any questions during the one-on-one consultation. If not, thank you for joining the webinar. I'll see you in the next one.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Thanks, Stephen. Thanks, Debbie. Thanks,
Thank you.
Thanks, Janine. Thanks, Najri. All right. We'll return the last 2 minutes to you guys.